Good evening, guys. I guess we're ready to start. So you're warmly welcome here on today's webinar provided by E5. And we are going to talk with you about SAFe implementation, tips and tricks, how actually to implement SAFe in your company, what potential tricks I may share with you in order to simplify this process, to conduct it very smooth and easily. So I guess it's 7 p.m. In Kiev, and we're ready to start. Today's webinar is provided by E5. We are a company established and based in Ukraine, and we're doing project management, agile transformation, and business analysis since 2014. We're really specialized in this part, have a very big variety of different clients whom we actually helped with their task, and many of them was decreasing time to market. And of course, I would like to introduce myself and share a little bit about my experience. And I'm sure that I have some issues with my presentation, but now everything handled. So my name is Alyona Lubchak. I am CEO of this company and SAFe program consultant. I mostly conduct agile transformation, helping companies to increase their speed of production, improve teams' motivation, engagement, and of course, decrease time to market by coaching product teams and helping identify actually market fit. I have a lot of different certifications, and many of them will be connected with the SAFe Scaled Agile Framework. So today, all information which you are going to receive is also provided by Scaled Agile. You will simply find it on the site, and I definitely share how to do it. And you will have a lot of cases because I'm helping company to implement SAFe, and it means the practical tips may a little bit be different comparing to the theoretical part. And now I would really love to know about you a little bit more. I would kindly ask you to type in our Zoom chat your actually current role, maybe your Scrum Master or Delivery Manager or Product Owner, maybe your Marketing Specialist. So what your current role in your company? Of course, your location, because this webinar is done for people all over the world, and we're really curious about your current location. It's really interesting for us. And the question about SAFe, are you going to implement it? Or maybe you just have the plans for the scaling inside of your company, or you're simply curious how to do it, maybe with your next project or with the next opportunity. So please share answers on those simple three questions, just for me to know better the audience, the people who today joined our webinar. Thank you very much for those of you who are actually doing it. We have project manager, I guess, Scrum Master from Warsaw, looking actually for possibility, to identify how to implement it, maybe with the next project. Also, product owner from Krakow. The curious person. We have a lot of curious persons here. It's really nice. Scrum Master from Gdynia, Poland. We have a lot of people from Poland. It's a big pleasure for me because I spent past half of the year in Poland. I really love this country. And project manager, I assume, from Warsaw. Also have the plans to implement SAFe. Very good. Then we will have very valuable discussion here. IT admin from Warsaw. Project manager, product owner, or product manager, from Germany. Also have the plans to implement everything. Next year, it may be very good, actually, New Year wish or Christmas wish to make the perfect implementation, just a joke. And of course, Agile project manager, Agile coach from Wrocław, scaling at the moment, and also have a question about it. Perfect. Scrum Master from Germany, Agile coach. and also project managers, Nigeria, a very nice location, just to make sure that we are worldwide, and of course, delivery manager from Warsaw. Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing your actually role. A little bit sharing about expectations. So now I know where to highlight some tips and tricks. And of course, I will be grateful in case if you may share some questions by using this Zoom chat. So we'll have real live discussion with you. I really love to have it, not just talking only me, but also to hear your cases, your practical questions. So really encourage you to do it during our webinar. Let's get it started. For today, I have prepared some agenda, what we are going to discuss with you. And mostly it will be connected actually with the simple question, why SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework? Then when to implement? So what is the right time? Maybe now, maybe in a year. A little discussion we'll have here. And of course, the main part will be connected to the how the best approach to do it. We will talk with you about classical approach, which you will definitely find on the Scaled Agile side. And I will share the tips how to simplify it a little bit. We will start with the why. And it's a really good question. I love it because when we're doing any transformation, the first step here to identify it actually the reason. However, in this case, I will share with you the answer on question why SAFe. It may be a variety of different reasons. And typically when your company reached some point when you have to scale up or you understood that you already have the scaling, but old process, just simple Scrum or Kanban, definitely not enough for you. You will start to look for another approaches. It may be any of scaling frameworks that you definitely will find. And I would like to share with you the results of research. This is State of Agile report. It's really, really fresh because just last week, sorry, we got the last version. And you may simply check like which scaling framework is the top framework at the moment at the world. So you see that SAFe Scaled Agile Framework, according to this report, it's used by 43% of people who actually did the survey. And this number actually increasing year with a year. Because last year it was 37%, now 53. The reason behind that, like maybe, first of all, because SAFe is very well described. You will find a lot of different instructions, how to implement SAFe, what actually means each role, what responsibilities, what events, how to conduct everything. So really, this is very good support for you as a change manager, as a leader, just to take everything which already exists, which already very good described, take necessary part for you, maybe not to take everything, because it's a little bit like over documented for each part, and try to implement it and get your own feedback. Also, there may be another frameworks, and I would like to highlight that as a professional, you definitely must know about them, what actually the main idea behind them, how to implement them, and then make your own decision. For now, it's definitely like the most famous, the most recognizable in Agile world framework for the scaling in Agile, actually with Agile philosophy. If we're going about pragmatic part, what benefits your company is going to achieve by using this framework, I would like also to share this classical 4 parameters, which we typically measure once we're going to start any transformation. And the most critical for any Agile transformation is decreasing time to market, because all philosophy, the Scrum framework as itself, it was developed in order to speed up the process, to implement PDCA, plan, do, check, and just cycle, and get the market feedback as quick as we could. By implementing SAFe, you definitely will have the decrease in time to market. My personal experience, just to give you one example from one of our product company, it was decreasing this time to market from 35 days to 21, more than twice. And it's really significant results which we received. Another main benefits which you are going to have, it's improving quality of your product, because typically, especially with the scale, the quality of the product may be decreased, especially with the bugs, with defects. We need to manage them and decrease any blockers and critical bugs. Productivity. Productivity, because with the same resources, with the same teams, you're going to have more. Because of better communication, of better coordination, of developing by the cadence, of aligning everybody with a common goal here. And engagement. It's, I guess, very crucial part for us as a leader to engage our teams, to provide them possibilities, to develop themselves and to work with really interesting projects. SAFe really helps to do it because we have this common alignment, we have common goal, and we're providing time and space to actually realize our ideas to improve our product. By all those factors, the engagement of the team really increased. Good. I guess those ideas will definitely help you, support you by choosing the right framework for you. Now the next question, when you're going to do this transformation. And typically there are two situations. First situation, the most common, unfortunately, I would guess so, this is a burning platform. This is actually the time when it's, sorry, but too late. You already have not one team, but 10. And it's very hard to coordinate them. It's very hard to have common planning, to manage the dependencies, understand actually your real capacity, manage stakeholders' expectations. So if you're in such situation, then first we're going to do, you're realizing, okay, this is the reality. We're in this situation and we must react actually very quickly. It means that you wouldn't have much time to prepare everything very carefully comparing to the next point from which you may start. However, it's still doable. And with burning platform, when you understood and your company realized that it's already not working and you actually missed a little bit time to do it proactively, it means that you will have more energy, more power, and a more understanding of urgency, and speed up much all that implementation part. The second point, when it may be in your company, this is proactive leadership. Of course, this is a better situation because still you have enough time to plan everything carefully, to analyze which framework is right for you, how this implementation must be done, what benefits we're going to achieve. All that questions must be replied also with the first situation, with burning platform. However, with the second one, you have more space, you have more time, you're not in such hurry. And I really hope, and I see from your replies on your plans for implementing, that a lot of people on this webinar are actually in the second situation. You have the plans, you actually act proactively, you would like to find out how to implement it, and of course, resolve your company's challenge. Most typically about scaling. So we need to work differently. We need to add more coordination, more dependency management, more risk management here, and still be agile, because this is a huge challenge here. Okay, on this step, you identified in which actually situation your current company is. Is it burning platform, which means that you must react very quickly, you must speed up your implementation, and you need everything for yesterday. Yeah, because it's really burning platform. Or you're acting proactively, and you may spend more time. It doesn't mean years, but still it's a little bit more time here to plan everything, to conduct, to train, and here you will have more time and space to implement, maybe not in such a rush, such a hurry. Then we are going to talk with you about how. So now you understand why you're doing it, you understand in which situation, or when to implement right now, or you have a little time to plan everything carefully, or maybe a lot of time, I don't know. So now let's talk about what actually you have to do, how you're going to implement it. And before this, to start this planning, to have this implementation plan, I would like to highlight again the reason behind this transformation. Typically, answering of the very, I would say, difficult question, but important question about why you're doing this transformation is crucial. Because during the transformation, be sure that a lot of people inside your company will ask you, why we're doing it? Everything was amazing, perfectly before we started this transformation. Maybe it was a bad idea. And you personally, since you are going to lead this transformation, to help, support, to be the part of the leaders who are going to conduct everything. So you need to have this answer. And reminding yourself why you're doing it, it's of course about pointing the benefits. What benefits your company is going to achieve after this transformation. And remember about 4 typical benefits, which we just discussed with you. Time to market, you're going to deliver faster. Productivity, with the same teams, with the same amount of people, you're going to receive more. Engagement of those teams, they will be more focused, more concentrated of your current goal, of product goals. And of course, your product quality. Is your product quality high enough? Do you have maybe no blockers or critical bugs, and what your clients, what your customers are telling you about the quality of your product? So all those 4 factors are very important to analyze in order to have this reply, for yourself, for your team, for everybody in your company. After this, once you have this reply on the question why we're doing it, and another important thing to highlight here, that this answer must be given not only by you, but also by the leadership team, because it's impossible to implement such transformation alone. Sorry, this is terrible truth. You really need the team of leaders who will help you, and at least some small workshop or maybe meeting to discuss, to make the common vision of your transformation, to understand the needs, the benefits is crucial here before we even start to develop our transformation plan. Once you have this reply, we will go with concrete steps, what we actually have to do. And here you may see classical transformation roadmap, implementation roadmap provided by Scaled Agile. So let's take it in details, and we will watch a small video here explaining this implementation roadmap. I will share the link of this video with you. So if your internet connection is not very stable, please feel free to turn it. You will have the link in the chat. If everything is okay with internet connection, so you may watch this video with me. So again, to show you how to where this video is on the side, simply you're going to the site, you see the scheme, you're going to full version or any other version here, but at the bottom you may see implementation roadmap. We're following it. Very detailed, powerful article for you. Just recap how to implement everything, and you see this video. So let's watch.
This short video outlines a proven series of steps for successfully implementing SAFe, called the SAFe Implementation Roadmap. The roadmap includes 12 key steps that map to 4 stages of implementation. The 4 stages of the SAFe Implementation Roadmap support the 12 critical moves you'll need to make along your implementation journey. They are building a guiding coalition, designing the implementation, implementing ARTS, solution trains, and lean portfolio, sustaining, and improving. Let's take a closer look at each stage and the steps involved. Implementing SAFe may be one of the most difficult yet rewarding change initiatives of your career. However, changing people's way of working, including the habits and culture of a large organization, is hard. It requires training, alignment, and most of all, a compelling reason to change. The 2 steps included in Stage 1 are train Lean Agile change agents and train executives, managers, and leaders. This is accomplished by sending leaders to the Leading SAFe course, sending change agents to the Implementing SAFe course, developing a Lean Agile Center of Excellence, or LACE, where leaders can exchange success patterns, and, if needed, onboarding a partner to help with training and coaching. The overarching intent of the Scaled Agile Framework is to deliver value quickly, cost-effectively, and on target. The second stage is a well-defined process to help you identify the most important values and proven ways to set priorities for designing the implementation. The key to this stage is organizing around value by identifying your value streams. Certified SPCs can use the Value Stream Workshop Toolkit to help with this activity. Agile Release Trains, or ARTs, then follow from the value streams you have identified. Prepare to launch your trains by offering training such as SAFe for Teams, SAFe Scrum Master, SAFe POPM, SAFe for Architects, and using the toolkits such as the PI Planning Workshop Toolkit. Once launched, continue to coach the ART execution through inspect and adapt activities, and offering classes such as SAFe for DevOps and Agile Software Engineering. Continue to execute on your implementation plan by launching more ARTs and extending SAFe practices to additional value streams. Larger systems may require the development of a solution train. This step also extends Lean Agile practices to the portfolio level, addressing capacity management and budgeting in portfolios. The SAFe Lean Portfolio Management Toolkit helps SPCs guide these activities at the portfolio level. The last step in the implementation roadmap is to sustain and improve. Even after the enterprise starts producing positive results, the initial state of Lean Agile adoption is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of another journey, one of relentless improvement. Sustaining and improving on the benefits gained requires dedication to basic and advanced practices, self-reflection, and retrospection. For more information and in-depth details about the 12 steps of the SAFe implementation roadmap, go to scaledagileframework.com/implementation-roadmap.
Okay, so let's take a look on all those 12 steps, and we'll try to understand what behind them and actually what advices I may share with you. First step, of course, it will be reaching the tipping point. And it's again about internal decision inside your company, because any change, whatever you would love to implement, maybe you are going to migrate to another task tracking system, or you're going to implement maybe new knowledge base. So any change, or maybe just change the policy with your team building, or decide some things there. Definitely, it will be a lot of feedback for you, and most typically, you're going to face with some resistance. In order to manage those resistance, we really need to have some prepared work, like homework, done before we are starting this change. And first step is about reaching the tipping point, which means for our company, it's more valuable actually to conduct this agile transformation, to implement this, because it has a lot of benefits. And those benefits overweight, they're really important for the company, and they overweight the resistance to those change. So really this sense of urgency, the understanding between the leadership team, the need of change must be present. Sometimes I have the requests with different cases like, yeah, we want to change something, but we do not have the support. It means that company is not ready yet. In order to prepare the company, we start to make some interviews for the managers, for the leadership team, just to identify room for improvements. Once we identify those room for improvements, we may highlight that these particular issues, these particular challenges may be covered inside your company by implementing SAFe or by conducting agile transformation. So for you as a leader, as a person who is going to implement the SAFe, very important to identify, is your company reached this tipping point or not yet? If not yet, then you may do additional research, identify your company's room for improvement, and try to work on this sphere to show to the leadership team, the management, the benefits of this transformation. The next part, once you identified everything, we need to actually form and train our Lean Agile change agents. This is a team who is going to actually implement the SAFe, because as I mentioned before, it's impossible to make such huge transformation by yourself. Despite your level, despite your previous experience, still you need the leaders, your colleagues to support you here. And on this stage, you're identifying such leaders and you train them. It's crucial to understand what actually framework you are going to implement and get details for that. So please take your time, your leader's time, in order to understand the SAFe, the basics part, the idea behind Scaled Agile Framework, and provide all necessary trainings. The third step, to explain it to our executives. Because one part, when we're going to train our change agents, these trainings must be done really like with details, quite intensive part. Meanwhile, third step with the executives, it's more like explaining the main goal, the idea, and the basics. So it definitely will be a little bit shorter and providing like a high-level overview. Guys, we're going to implement SAFe, the main idea like this. What do you think about that? So this is another step to explain to our executives, to managers, what actually the transformation is going to take and the idea behind that. Of course, remember about the benefits, why we're doing it. Next step, you will have this formed Lean Agile Center of Excellence. Because on the second step, you just trained different candidates for that role, different change agents. However, on the first step, you're forming the team, and this team is going to actually commit on the transformation. So this team is really like help support our agile transformation. Will deal with all resistance, with all impediments to help with. Maybe we'll do some additional trainings, coaching for our teammates here. So this forming of this formal team is really important. On this stage, you may discuss with them the process, how you're going to do this transformation. Are you going to have weekly meetings or maybe bi-weekly? What your transformation backlog, how you're going to work inside your team? Are you going to conduct the retrospectives in terms of the transformation? So this official forming of transformation team we have on the step 4. The fifth steps, the most difficult, I would say, and the most discussable and questionable, because a lot of companies ask how to conduct it. This steps is about identification of value stream. The value stream, a special operational value stream, it's the sequence of steps which we're going to do in order to bring the value to our end user. You may see the example of this value stream. For example, we are working with you in bank, and we have our client who have this loan need. Maybe he or she wants to buy a house or a car or whatever else. And typically there are some steps in order to close the loan. So like we need to attract such client, we need to calculate the rate for this particular client, taking into account his or her credit history, then to sign the contract, to provide the money. Our client will definitely have this purchase, and at the end will repay our money and close the loan. So this is the example of a very typical value stream. And once we realize this value stream inside our company, we may check what systems support each of those steps. And here you have your software development subsystems. I would say, like core banking, credit scoring system, maybe some additional channel system to attract your clients. And only after that, you may assign necessary teams which are developing those particular software part and form your Agile Release Train. From practice, from actually the cases which we had, this is the kind of workshop which is typically done. It may take like half of the day, or maybe one day, maybe a few sessions will be needed. But this workshop is crucial for the leadership team, crucial for the management of the company, in order to understand how to design actually our organization, how we are going to work, what trains we are going to have, which team is going to join which exact train, how they're going to be organized. And the organization, please remember about this cross-functional principle which we have in Scrum, that our team is cross-functional. The same we have in SAFe, because our train, Agile Release Train, is also cross-functional. In order to do the train, so we really need to have this value stream workshop. If you're already certified with the SAFe, you have access to this workshop with very straight recommendations. If you will need support, please contact us. We will be glad to help with such kind of workshops. And as a result, you have the snapshot of your company. What value stream do you have? You may have one, you may have plenty of it. What actually arts, Agile Release Train, do you have inside? How your teams distributed between different arts, Agile Release Train. And this is the picture of your organization, the snapshot, how you are going to implement and to run the first PI planning. Once this part done, we are moving to the plan. And you may see that this is only the step number 6, the planning, the implementation, creating the exact plan. All previous part was mostly replying on the question why, about having the trainings, getting the support of our key stakeholders of management, understanding who is going to do this implementation, and of course having the snapshot of our organization. We're trying to organize all of our teams around the value, because our client, our end user is the key. We're going everything which we are doing when we're doing any product, it's about to support business value, to provide this value to our end user. So this is huge work which already must be done before you have this plans, before you will have any activity here. Once you have it, the next is pretty easy, I may say so. So here we are planning the exact steps. For example, you have 4 arts or 5 arts, you just identified them on previous step, and then you need to plan. With first PI or program increment of first quarter, you're going to launch first art, Agile Release Train. Then second quarter, you're going to launch 2 more arts, then 3 more arts. And this is your plan. With such roadmap, you may simply plan needed activities like training, preparation, and all other parts. After it, we have actually the preparation for the first art. And the main idea was the same, despite the size of your organization, despite how many arts you're going to have, we always start with the one. Because you need this proof of concept. You need to have the first positive case with this scaling. And on the previous step, you identified your arts Agile Release Trains. You may have 1 Agile Release Train, you may have 10 or maybe 20. It depends on scale of your organization, of your company. So on the 7 steps, we're preparing to start the first PI planning, and we're preparing the first art, Agile Release Train. We're identifying all needed people here. We have our cross-functional teams, we have our service teams, we have maybe business owners abroad on board, and of course you are providing additional roles. Remember 3 main roles additional with the art. This is RT, Release Train Engineer, Chief Scrum Master, who is going to organize everything, facilitate and coach our trains. This is product manager. You may have a few people conducting these roles, the person or people who are going to provide us the vision, high-level backlog with the features, provide the priority, and of course, system architect, technical role, technical view. So missed roles, if you identify that somebody is missed, please, this is the right place and time to identify all missed roles, assign them to proper people, maybe to hire someone if you missed some of them, and of course, start the preparation. Talking about the cases, so the preparation to the first PI planning, this is also one of the hardest steps, because you have to work with the backlogs, you have to work with the priorities, and you have to prepare enough, just enough, not too much. In other cases, PI planning is useless. You wouldn't get any benefits, but right enough, because little preparation will really make your PI planning terrible. It will be very high level. Please do it somehow without any details, and it's very good, not very good, but very high chances to fail PI planning, little preparation. So it's about the balance, to have just enough, just right amount of such preparation. So we're starting this preparation by training the people, explaining them what will be changed before they work somehow, your teams. Maybe with Scrum, maybe with Kanban, maybe with any other Agile framework like Crystal or feature-driven development or whatever else. But now something will be changed. And those basic things, you must train your teams, explain them, how our process is going to be organized. It's also a very typical mistake with the implementation done by internal like resources or internal teams, that they missed this training part. They think that people will know somehow by themselves what is safe and how to conduct PI planning, but it's not the case, honestly. You must explain to your teams what is going to be differently now, what is PI planning, what is system demo, what is inspect and adapt workshop, and what actually you expect from them. So on the 8th step, we're really have this preparation with our backlogs, with the teams training, and of course, we have this first PI planning, we have our art launch. Also here to build on this topic, be ready that your first PI planning may be a little bit messy, because you're doing this first time. Those 2 days, they may be quite impressive, intensive, and you may have this feeling that it's completely chaos. The good news is that you may control it, you may facilitate it. And once you have done everything like with the recommendations, which definitely provided by Scale Agile, by by E5, so you have this like planned chaos made and ended up with very strict and specific plans of your teams for next PI, 2 or 3 months, with very strict PI objectives, what they actually committed to, with their commitment, with dependency board, with program board, where all dependency will be stated, and with quite good risk analysis and close it with risk strategy. So just remember that it may feel like mess, especially first time. But with the second time, once you have these lessons learned, once you will conduct the retrospective with your teams, you will identify room for improvements, and the second PI planning definitely will be better. And here we are moving to step number 9, when we have this art coaching execution. So you just planned, you have some lessons learned. Now we need to implement what we actually planned and have our additional experiments, additional learning. After it, launch more arts. If your company is pretty big, you might definitely have more Agile Release Trains to be launched, and maybe you would like to extend, maybe you will identify more value streams, because it really depends case by case. Do you have one value stream or you have plenty of them? So it's maybe very different options. After it, once you have launched your arts Agile Release Trains, once you have some positive experience, you may extend to the portfolio level. This level will mostly be focused on budgeting, on high-level prioritization, work with really huge epics inside your company. So this is a good time to extend to the portfolio level. The last step, accelerate. So any good practices, any best practices, feel free to scale, feel free to adjust and implement in your company. This is like overview of classical 12 steps provided by Scale Agile in order to implement a safe Scale Agile framework. I would highly recommend for those of you who are doing changes or who has such plans to read this book by John Carter, which is Leading Change. He actually has a lot of very nice and interesting books, and he specialized with change management. His model of change management, you may see on the screen, very typical step which any transformation, any change must take in order to be implemented successfully. The steps in which I would like to stop here will definitely be first one, about establishing the sense of urgency. Especially when you have the start from the proactive position, when you do not have this burning platform part, when you have very good situation, you have plans for the future, you have plans for scaling, and you don't feel, and your company doesn't feel actually that this is high pressure with the times. So in this case, it's really good to highlight the sense of urgency. Why it's urgent to do now? Because once we will scale up, it will be too late. We will be in this burning platform situation, and it will be harder because we already will have negative impacts of the poor management of previous process management. So that is why understanding that now or never, yeah, maybe such word will help you. So establishing this sense of urgency. The another steps to highlight here, it's step number 6, which is generate short-term wins, which is also typically skipped by a variety of different reasons. So we started transformation. We understood that this is quite long time frame because you cannot implement SAFe in 1 month. Sorry, but it takes time. And we will talk with you a little bit how long, yeah, because they may be different time frames in order to conduct your agile transformation. And this answer will definitely depends on your company size, because implement essential SAFe will be easier comparing to full SAFe, which is really huge. So generate short-term wins will really help you to highlight actually the benefits. What we have better now comparing to yesterday? What benefits we already achieved? This is all very typically skipped and ignored by people because, okay, we worked somehow, now we need to adjust and think about new process, but do we need it? We have a little of concerns, and we tend not to see the good things which actually we already have with the new process. And your goal, your task as a leader, as a change manager, to highlight. Please just pay attention that it doesn't mean lie. No, it means highlight if you really have some good things, just point your team's attention to them. We started to work faster. We started to make the releases more often. As a result, we have bigger feedback from our market. We may identify our market fit easily. So all that parts must be highlighted by you. So please pay attention to this part. And just to wrap up a little bit, and now I would like to simplify this implementation roadmap because it may sound a little bit complicated and heavy to implement. So I just highlighted 4 main steps for you to implement. And first step, of course, will be to set the goal and train people. Why we are doing it, why it's crucial, what we are going to achieve. Once you have answers on those questions, please train people, explain them what is SAFe, why we're doing this transformation. So this is like first step. The next one, the planning. You're identifying your value stream, You have your first art, Agile Release Train. You have this date of first PI planning planned, and you start to do those preparation. The third step, it's try it. With your first art, Agile Release Train, with your first PI planning, you're conducting necessary preparation with groomings, with priorities, with assigning necessary roles to your art. So all that part is about trying it. And the last step is, of course, extend and accelerate. It really depends on the size of your organization. Do you have a small company? Do you have big company? How many arts you are going to have inside your setup of the safe? So all that part will be done on the first step. And in such way, the implementation is really simplified and it's easier to manage. So just please remember those 4 main steps, like set the goals, train people, plan the transformation, try it, and extend and accelerate. Yeah, inspect and adapt. This part is still present here. If you would like to know more about change management or have more information about how to implement everything, I prepared a small list of books, maybe a long list, just in case if you have a free Christmas Eve and would like to have more reading for that part. So please feel free to take it. Maybe you have your own favorite book to share here. They mostly first 3 about written by John Kotter. He's really famous with change management. And the last one, of course, which we just visited, the recommendation from the SAFE, their article about implementation. So feel free to read it and share your thoughts about that books. Do you like them or no? And in case if you will need any support from our side, please feel free to contact me, contact E5 or book 30 minutes call. I will be glad to talk with you about your particular case and reply on your answers. If you feel that it's good time and you really want to implement the SAFE, but you need more information, you would like to know the details about the SAFE, I really invite you to join our certified course, Leading SAFE, which will be just in January after New Year and Christmas holidays. So you're warmly welcome to join it as well. And here I am ready to discuss all your questions, all your comments, and maybe share some other information. Okay. So yeah, just the questions that the video refers to previous safe version. I would say that that video it's still actual, yeah, because we just checked with the site with the latest version. You see 5.1. Anyway, yeah, so you see this the latest version of SAFE, which is current 5.1, and you see the SAFE implementation. So we got it here. So it's the latest version. Even if the video was made before 5.1 version was released, so still don't worry, because this implementation roadmap it's still actual. It's improving by adding additional trainings here, not the general steps like preparation, reaching this tipping point, you have this go decision, so the steps are pretty the same comparing to previous version. And again, it's like general principles, general ideas, which will be actual despite of the version of the SAFE. So guys, any comments, any questions you would like to highlight here? I'm ready to help and to answer on them. If anything you would like to share. Looks like no. So in this case, I would like to thank you for your time, for spending this evening with us, and really hope to see you on our next events from E5. And of course, I wish that you will have this chance to try to implement the SAFE, to feel how it is, to make your own list of tips and tricks, what you should do, maybe what not to do for the future, and remember about the balance of the preparation and about actually the spending time and having the benefits, because it's really crucial to have this balance with your preparations and with conducting some events just to keep your company still agile. Okay, and one more question. Thank you very much for it. I will read it. So SAFe assumes 2 days for PI planning. In my environment, it's not realistic. Do you have experience with shorter PI planning meetings? Does it still work? Okay, so I have the cases when we have the shorter PI planning, and let's does it still work? Yes, it works, because first we understand the goals. Why we're doing this common planning? Because we want to have the alignment between different teams, because we want to have communication like top down. Guys, this is our business needs. We want you to achieve those, to develop those 10 features or whatever else. And we have communications bottom up. Sorry, but our capacity is limited, and we as a team, we are able to deliver only this amount. So those communications are done even with the shorter PI planning. Also, we have the dependency management, which is also maybe done with shorter time frame. Now let's take a look. What is shorter time frame? So are we talking about, I don't know, maybe 1 day or less, or maybe half of the day? And for this purpose, I will follow with the PI planning agenda. You again may simply find it by clicking on icon. Remember that SAFe, this is only also knowledge base. With very nice integrated principles, practices from Agile, Lean, DevOps. So I really encourage you to use it. I really love it. And this is a standard agenda for 2 days for this PI planning. Sorry. And how we may optimize it. So first of all, based on my experience, you may optimize this part. The business context, the product vision, the solution. So you may see 3.5 hours. Typically with my clients, we may do it quicker. This is one point for the optimization. The another thing here, like the program risks. Typically, it's not like 1 hour. And then this additional actually buffer, you have half of the day. So if we will check carefully the agenda, we will see that this is not like full 2 days, but maybe like 1.5 days. Yeah, this part. Another case how you might like optimize the agenda is having this preparation beforehand, because team breakouts, in case if your teams just saw the features, will take much longer comparing to team breakouts which already conducted the groomings. And for this purpose, we have innovation and planning iteration, which also has at least a week for the preparation for the teams. You see here, PI planning readiness, you have 5 days. My recommendation to have like 2 groomings per day. It means 10 grooming sessions per this week, which is typically more than enough for the teams to prepare. And then most probably with the first PI planning, it will take 2 days, definitely. With the third PI planning, you will see that your teams finish it before. And then company has some actually options. Some of our clients made decision to keep those 2 days because they want to have enough time and space to make those conversations. They see the value. Some of the clients decided to finish earlier. With the third PI planning, you will probably finish at the lunchtime. With the 6th PI planning, you may try to handle everything with the 1 day. This is like my personal experience with our clients, what we have. With the 12th PI planning, you have very high chances to finish with a half day, but here, please be very careful, because with such behavior, it's very high chances to lose the benefits of PI planning, which is common communication, which is dependency management, because Like we're doing everything beforehand here on innovation planning iteration. So why we need this PI planning at all? Maybe we will skip it. So yeah, and of course, with those questions, I will definitely challenge that spending 2 days is not realistic with your environment, because typically it means for me that your management unfortunately doesn't see the values, the benefits of spending 2 days. And it means that we must provide them, explain why those 2 days needed, what actually benefits you are going to have. I hope I reply on those questions. So I pointed the room actually for optimization. Yeah, and then of course you may choose any. If any of those tips actually may help you, I will be really, really glad. Good. Any other questions, guys? In this case, again, I'm really, really thankful for you for spending this evening with me. I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you on our next events. See you. Bye.